On January the 14th, on January the 14th, 2011, a freight train as a cargo train was going from Pinewood to cargo terminal. It was nighttime at night as the cargo train left out of the yard. This cargo freight train was a lot of boxes, and yeah, I guess all these stuff in here. The train was so long that it had the freight train was so long that it had 17 freight cars. 17 freight cars in the box. The train wasn't heavy as the engine was the superpower line.
Why?
That called the Cargus. It was the new train that was just built in 2022. Before April Fool's, so service be still running like that. As cargo train number 287 was headed down the tracks and was slowing down. It was passing the station as Westbridge Station, and there were another freight train. That was the green one, and passing it down the tracks. Moments later, and a second ago, a problem. The 3 tracks up the switch, and it was a big problem, and the track wasn't fixed at time. It was on a switch. It was a broken switch track that switches trains, and it had been not fixed until later. Later at 7:05 a.m. a disaster was about to happen. The train was trying to slam the brakes hard, but the heavy cars on the cargo boxes was too heavy for the disasters. The driver slammed the brakes. The driver slammed the brakes so hard for their life, and then disaster strikes. As cargo train 287 crashes and exploded.
Yeah, you did it.
It flipped on the side. And exploded off the rails. And it was still on the rails, damaging the freight cars. The freight cars, or the boxes, was upside down. And the cars like zigzag, and the last car and the 2 green cars flips on the side and jumped on other tracks. It was a news reporting it was the workers' fault that another train hit the switch, and one of the wheels that was broken hit it hard, and it made the switch broken, and they then came to fix it. The cars of the damage was crazy. All the cars were upside down, and making a huge explosion where trains get delayed forever. Make sure to like and subscribe too, I forgot, and press the bell button. On March the 34th, no, not the 34th, on March the 31st, 2022, the new coaches cars that just came in Japan, they called the UR 22-1 series new cars. It goes 120 miles per hour. A new whistle. The new whistle noise. That is new. The whistle noise of the cars was brand new in Germany. Mr. Miyazaki and Mr. James was the boat drivers of the train. It was 164 passengers on a crowded train in Japan on rush hour, heading down the tracks at 120 miles per hour. It was a delay at an ordnance station, so they were about to stop at West Ordnance Station to stop. The train slows down at 59 miles per hour, point the mile speed in seconds. They were about to tell the passengers there's gonna be a delay for like a minute. The train stops into the station and dropping no passengers. And they bring us a stair because the train was too long in the bottom. Wait, no, I don't want to. Yeah, don't worry about it, guys. The train had 2 air conditioners on top of the train that ears come out, and when on the JR train has the front that has a sign and a number and the lights inside of it, and the train right here that has the safety thing. I don't know what it is. Yeah, the new doors was so special, and the driver inside was crazy. No, not crazy, good. They got back to moving after one of the people that owns the JRs tell the driver to move, but nobody did say move. Only the owner. But it was a bad idea to move the train as it heading down the tracks at 87 miles per hour. The limit speed is 100, but they were not slowing down at 100. It passes 100 and the red begins. It was a warning telling them to slow down on a steep curve down the tracks. They really noticed there's a disaster was about to happen. And the train crosses the tracks and passes the red signal at 120 and 119 miles per hour, and then disaster strikes. City of Japan. The train crashes off the rails and twists the 3 cars and crashing it off the rails and hitting the second car hard. one of the 5 cars will stay on the tracks, but the 3, but okay, there's 6, no 6. It is 5 cars on the tracks, but there's the new trails. But these 3 cars that came off the rails are damaged, and the third car was smacked and coming out the rails, but the second car was almost damaged. It's just the window, like close to the window. It's up the rails. So guys, there's a lot of JR trains in Japan. On March the 30th, 2022, one of the new high-speed trains are running now. The new Metro Liner Train 21000 new cars that just came, that cost $1 billion for these cars. Not in real life, but Roblox too. There were the high-speed line trains in the world. Begin now. These trains was building on March the 29th and March the 28th. They kept building them until they came $1 billion. It was 200 passengers on this train that was very crowded, and everyone was about to get ready for a horrifying crash gonna happen soon later today. Okay, 100. The train speed is 130 and 245 miles per hour. But they change it to 130, or they could make it to 150 miles per hour. The driver name Mr. Wayne Whitson was the driver of the train on this route. But a few moments later, it was a curve that was very steep, and the train slowed down at 50 and 52 miles per hour. It passes on a switch, but a few moments later, a horrifying crash is about to happen for the nightmare disasters. As it was approaching to its ordering station, and disaster strikes. A disaster of train number 354 exploded and crashes off the rails. The high-speed line train crashes into the station. Passengers scream on the train in the front and the back, or some people scream or need some help, and they were walking like zombies out of the doors that just opened, and the driver was still okay, but hurt his head and got a little headache now. He went to the hospital because he scratched his arm. His leg was like not broken, but like a sore hurting. So you had to use like something that call it, or I forgot, or they were using stitches for his leg. He wasn't screaming. His leg, like, it's not the bone coming out, it's just the leg soaring from his, like, the train, because the train backed up hard, and that's why it made the train coming up the rails, because the second car pushes the front train up the rails. Makes more worse, a power on the train cut off in the back too. The people were screaming, and one of these cars that they were injured. 150 was injured, and 56 are dead, and some of them survived on the train wreckage. With train number 354, right? This horrifying high-speed line train crash. A freight train stops and sees it and calls 911, and all of them came. The high-speed line crashes before the brake slams. In a disaster. On August the 15th, 2000, no, on March, okay, I need to change it. On March the 31st, 2022, the new car train UR 22-3 series was the new modern car that goes 130 miles per hour. It was going from Evergreen to Amazaki, or I don't know, I saying it right, or going to, I don't even know what stations, but some of them are European Z's, Japan ESE. Now, why the long cars gotta be off the rails? This is so stupid and for railers. Okay, let's spawn it, let's see what happens. This thing don't. Why it keeps giving me the 4 cars? I think the 4 cars and the long cars running too. That's why they keep spotting me 4 cars and stuff. Oh, okay. But it was a different train because the UR223 series don't run on that. So now the UR225 series modern Japan collection train that was new and was almost the same thing like that one. That series 223 don't run at Evergreen. So now the express gotta be running dirty. It had the long car. It almost had 9 cars, but it had 8 cars in the modern line. But it doesn't know it was a speed limit that says 100 miles per hour, but it was saying 40 miles per hour. The train heading down the tracks with 148 passengers. It was almost not rush hour, but they doing it at night too. But in a disaster that happened, they freaking noticed it was a steep curve, and the driver quickly slammed the emergency brakes, or then a disaster was about to happen. They didn't slam the brakes hard. They were still going as 130 miles per hour, way too fast, and it doesn't know what to do. They passes the other train that was going southbound, and northbound train crosses the cross at Greeny Central, and a steep curve and a disaster was about to happen. Everyone was screaming at Grandy Central Station. Everyone was screaming, seeing a blaming fire, and the third train crashes off the rails. And it was too little late. everyone was screaming in the back car that the back car was off the rails, but not falling off the rails. A huge power out on the train is a power, and even is a power outage in the city because the train has power on the tracks. And a huge ball of fire began. The UR Series 225 exploded. They called 911 for the emergency, and it came quickly as possible. It had 3 firefighters to came, and a lot of ambulance came to the rescue. The cops see the scene, and the disasters was crazy. The UR 225 Sirius exploded after the air station rips off of the train. On the news later afternoon, the train was not there, and they found the crash site, and the train wasn't there. Yo.
Don't be kinder. I'm in lava.
Now they got replaced. Blah 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 blah. Yo, okay. Sorry about that, guys. Cause my sister. They had to replace the UR 223 Sirius and the Sirius train UR 209 minus the 500 Sirius modern Japan line. Even so, they had to replace the UNR 151 Sirius and the UR 209 Sirius. And they had to made the UR 221 Sirius on the southbound every night. Late. The UR 225 Sirius was replaced as the new cars that color changed. The UR 225s was running until April the 10th, and they will be stopped running because they probably going to crash again, and it hit the tree so hard that it came up the rails. The saddest thing is the family was on the train, and the dad was at work, and there were like 3 kids, a sister, and 2 brothers, and a mom. The dad was crying and so surprised. It was another train that was a JR was stuck right there and seized the UR train number 225 Sirius that just came off the rails and rips. The Sirius trains, the Mazda 225 was the modern line train with the new lights. But they are never gonna see the UR 225 Sirius cars. They are not gonna run between Gasper West, between Asper, or I don't know what kind of stations they have, are not gonna be there. The UR 225 gonna be the streetcar line trains with the new trolley thing. I don't even know. It's gonna be in the Transit Museum because these cars gonna be still in the yard until further notice. They're gonna be going. Because like in New York City, the R32s and the R40s are not going to be running too, because it was a long year. There was a lot of years until they stopped running. Like the R110A and the R110B had problems a lot, and I don't like that either. Even the R40M are not running too, or not the R40. R40s, right? I don't even know what. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, and the R211s A or R211 will be running until they're gonna start running on 2023. Like in 2023, the 15 trolleys that goes to Gerard will be running too. Cause it was a lot of shuttle buses on the 11, the 13, the 11, the 13. The 11. No, it was the 13, 34, 36, and 11. I don't even know what kind of. So all one of those slipped out in here in Japan and a lot, and with China or Hawaii or Kingdom or what else? Africa, Japan, Africa, America, Africa, and Texas. One of those gonna be start running too. Yeah, all these trains gonna be start running because some of them are often not running since the program started. And the coronavirus, with COVID-19 started like that in 2019. That's why they call it 19 because it was started in 2019. Because the Chinese did this. Chinese people did this. The driver of the train had too much coffee early before they were driving, and this is why he slammed the brakes because he almost went to sleep, and he slammed the brakes hard. But when it hits the curb, it came out the rails so hard and hits the trees. They always test these trains before they start running. But one was tested, and it was the UR223 series was always tested, but not the 225 series. But next time when you see these crashes ever again, this final disaster's gonna be crazy. See you guys on the next video. So guys, the UR series trains and JRs are the only chance that are in Japan and you get to ride one of those. So you gotta take an airplane to Japan, wherever you get to go. Like this charger wanna go somewhere else into the plug. Oh, sorry about that. I had too much coffee. So I don't want to drink coffee, but I drank mommy's coffee and I didn't go crazy. It says how to survive a top accidental. Oh my gosh! Oh. Okay, let's be quiet.